Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. It has been less than 48 hours since Donald Trump became President of the United States again. And the ramifications of that election and his victory are massive. Immediately, I thought of Arthur Schlesinger Jr.'s book, written at the height of the Watergate scandal, called The Imperial Presidency, because without any doubt, Donald Trump is proceeding as if he is king, not president. Executive orders being signed are not unusual, but these executive orders are stunning. Let me remind you that we reviewed the fact that Donald Trump made certain campaign pledges that meant a lot to him and to his supporters. Among them, it was to pardon those who participated in the January 6th insurrection. I want to describe first the question of seditious conspiracy. There were individuals, people who represented the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, including Stuart Rhodes, who were convicted of seditious conspiracy. Those convictions carried with them heavy prison sentences and certainly a measure of disgrace. To try to overthrow American democracy, well, it was seditious conspiracy. Donald Trump said he would review each and every one of these matters for some 1,600 individuals, that he would review them individually. What did he do? He signed a collective pardon/clemency. And among those released were people who were determined to overthrow the election of 2020, which I would remind you, Donald Trump continues to describe as being stolen and fraudulent, and, well, you know all the adjectives he has used to describe 2020. What bothers me is the assault on police officers. Yep. Donald Trump ran for president of the United States, maintaining that he would protect police. The men and women in the blue were his highest priority. And yet, what he has done is to pardon or grant clemency to those who in fact assaulted the police on January 6th. I say this with a deep sense of sadness, but I want you to understand something. This is the power of the presidency. And this, my friends, is a demonstration of the consequences of a free election in the United States of America. When we empower a president, there should be a check and a balance. Okay, he has absolute power to pardon. But where are the voices in the Congress who say they object? 2 Republican senators so far have indicated publicly that they object to what Donald Trump did. But it will make no difference. This is, I believe, an abuse of power. It is the imperial presidency. And it doesn't mean he doesn't have the power. He does have the power. But when I say it's an abuse, maybe the better term would be the misuse of power. And yet we know that Donald Trump will continue, as he has every single day, and as he will continue to do now that he's president of the United States, to articulate those issues which do not bring us together, but which rather divide us. There is another issue, and that is the 14th Amendment to the Constitution with birthright citizenship. Donald Trump is determined to destroy birthright citizenship. Now, he has issued an executive order, which is already being challenged by over 20 states and countless municipalities. That will ultimately go to the courts and maybe to the Supreme Court. And the question is, will a free, independent Supreme Court uphold the 14th Amendment, Section 3? The question of birthright citizenship. Donald Trump has made a decision. He believes he has a popular mandate, and he believes that he will have a majority of the Supreme Court siding with him. This, my friends, would be a remarkable turnaround. Remember, just 2 days ago, Donald Trump swore to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I want to talk about another aspect of all of this, and that was the decision to withdraw Secret Service protection for Ambassador John Bolton. Now, I've agreed with John Bolton and I've disagreed with John Bolton, but the simple truth is Donald Trump brought John Bolton in during his first term to be National Security Advisor to the President. And whatever you think of John Bolton, who I've interviewed several times, he is a brilliant man and he has a point of view. And it appeared that Donald Trump embraced that point of view, which is why he put John Bolton where he is. As a result of this withdrawal of Secret Service protection, John Bolton's life is still in jeopardy. Iran has threatened his life. Donald Trump says, well, too bad, we don't guarantee protection forever. This is something that is so petty, so mean, and if, God forbid, something should happen to John Bolton, it would be the fault of Donald Trump. It is, to me, astounding that he is able to get away with it with so little criticism. And then comes the question of mass roundups, which we are told will happen. The Trump administration is clear, precise about it. And now Donald Trump has ordered that ICE can arrest people in churches and schools. It is an unprecedented action by the President of the United States. It, too, is being challenged. But let me point out to you that amidst all these challenges, the most important thing is that Donald Trump sits as an imperial president. Please go back and read the book, The Imperial Presidency by Arthur Schlesinger Jr. Read it and understand that we face an amazing moment in our history, a pivotal moment in our history, which is what Donald Trump intends. There is one thing that I understand very clearly. Donald Trump laid out a program. He sold it to the American people. At least he sold it to those who voted for him. And he won the election. My dear friends, we must listen to what people say before they run for the presidency, or while they are running for the presidency, and most assuredly, when they win the presidency. These are crucial, critical, and divisive moments in our country's history. What Donald Trump has done and is continuing to do as President of the United States of America will have impacts on all of us. I've dealt today just with some domestic policy issues. I could deal with many more. I have not yet spoken with you about foreign policy implications, whether it is the Panama Canal or Canada or tariffs. All of these issues we will discuss. For some who supported Donald Trump, this is a liberating moment. For those who opposed him, it is a nightmare moment. Well, in the words of Gerald Ford when Richard Nixon left office, it is clear that for some, our long national nightmare has just begun. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which is, of course, our goal. You can interact with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and of course, you can email me. But especially this morning, I want to thank the producer of this program, Gogo Zoger, who makes sure each day that Around the Political World with John Rothman is up, running, and available. Spread the word. I think we have a lot of things to say. This is John Rothman. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Around the Political World. See you then.